Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Tuesday, October 12th at 12:02 p.m. Just going to start it out that it's probably going to be a relatively short stream today. I'm going to try my best to get to everyone's questions. Obviously, we have AskFid up and running, and I get back to everyone's questions. It may take a little bit of time, but it's all good. Let's do our best today. It's a good topic considering the volatility that we just experienced overnight with the favorite asset that we've been dealing with lately. And it's something I want to hit on. Time horizon and narratives. 2 seconds. Let me just refresh a screen. So we talk a lot about narratives. That's all we do is we tell stories. We define narratives, and the art of the crypto space, or any market for the matter, is watching those narratives unfold. And we want to extend decent time horizons. And that's very, very difficult in the crypto space because any moderate time horizon is going to have tremendous volatility. Volatility is maximum. It's at an extreme in the crypto space. So how the hell do you have a decent time horizon to watch a narrative play out when you have max volatility and you're going up and down 30%? Almost on a daily basis. But that's the market. And something I remember from my career in Android development is over the years, people always, or iOS devs and devs of other platforms always said, "How the? It's a horrible platform. You're dealing with the 10,000 different phones. It's horrible. It's horrible." And I always said, "Yeah, but when you get it to work, it's really cool because you're dealing with 10,000 phones." So I always saw the Android ecosystem as like, yeah, that's awesome when you get it to work. That's the challenge. That's the beauty of a well-designed application. So that's something I kind of draw a parallel to in the crypto space. When you figure out how to play these markets, it's kind of like a success, a triumph. You now know how to navigate this, and it's not easy. It's I've been in these markets for countless years, but at this point, I have a great deal of comfort, and I don't have the anxiety I had historically all those years ago. Because I see a narrative. And just because price action dips 30% to the downside has nothing to do with the narrative in play. It's irrelevant. It means nothing. I deploy capital for a rational time horizon to target a narrative. And unless the narrative changes, price action means nothing. The narrative's the same. So define your time horizons. You got countless year time horizon for the China narrative. Polygon narrative lost the Indian narrative lost a lot of momentum. Doesn't invalidate the narrative, but it does uh, force us to consider opportunity cost. And you guys know the biggest narrative I talk about right about now. That's the stablecoin narrative. Censorship resistance. Treasury's going to want stablecoin issuers to register. This is a fight about public and private money and the right to express ourselves the way we see value. And then the government's going to want to control it because they have their hegemony, where they want totalitarian control over the currency, like they do something special. The old people and their old money, there's something we should be honored to use it. No, they lost all honor and respect. Me being an engineer, I lose honor and respect when a company gets stagnant, when there's no innovation, no iteration, no evolution. What do you have with public money? It's deprecated. It's pathetic in comparison to the money that's created in the crypto space. You don't let any politician tell you for a second these aren't currencies. Goddamn currencies, and it's money. Money is value, something that allows the transmission of value and the storage of value. Dealing with money and currencies here, especially with the rise of DeFi, having properties such as inflation, deflation, and velocity. These are the properties of currencies. I don't need someone to tell me whether these are currencies or someone to tell me whether it's money. I know what I'm looking at. Politicians think they're in control. They think They could define things for us. No, define things for yourself with your own eyes. You see what things are. And these things are obvious. Let's pop it over to the main screen and get to some comments. Got spell up. Ooh. Dan Goldberg's in the house. Always a pleasure. What are you go-tos for research? Not much. Twitter. Twitter's everything, my man. Crypto-related research. It's all Twitter. Adam, hello. STJ, ho. Minays, hello. Lewis is in the house. A pleasure. Hello, brother. Crypto ambassador, golden crypto man, and a bunch of other cool things I can't think of because I'm old. My man, it's all good. FTX listed Spell because it's profitable for them. It's the same thing as why Binance and Coinbase list assets that make no freaking sense. Why the hell hasn't Coinbase listed Digibyte all these years later? It's ridiculous. So they list assets that are going to have ridiculously high transaction volume because it's good business. That's the bottom line. And with regard to it being adversarial or not, there's a lot of components in that equation. Spell is a lucrative asset. If Spell replaces Tether, the amount of transaction fees it's going to generate for Spell holders, especially with ridiculously implemented monetary policy. I imagine they trim circulating supply or max supply. The potential revenue stream for anyone that holds a large amount of Spell is enormous. So they clearly see this as a business opportunity, and they're just not going to get in the way with natural price appreciation and price discovery. It's a logical business play for them. And there's going to be a huge amount of FOMO, not just from us retail, but from the big exchanges that want a piece of the action. Uh, they of all market participants, market actors, think from a business perspective and revenue, much like the narratives that we talk about. How I want to operate like a business, but they are a business, so they actually very much are. Their base case is operating like a business. I apply business rules or business ideology to what I do as an individual. So I kind of, it's because I want to operate like a business. Just the way I do things. Craig, my man, in the house. A pleasure. Alex, STJ, Noah, can you explain CVX CRV keeps its price pegged to CVX? It doesn't keep a peg. It's based on the pool, the liquidity pool balance. Now, the primary pool for CVX CRV and CRV is on Curve, and Curve does a very nice job at offering infinite liquidity at any price point. That's how Curve V2 operates. So that's how pegs are kept. Curve is a fundamental component of the crypto space, especially with regard to equal value assets and stablecoins. It's integral component of this type of functionality. Osarko, hey Noah, I've made the live stream. Pleasure. Igor, hello. FM Pulse Chain will consume Ethereum. Cool. And then we'll be able to bridge value over there and extract profits. That's cool. Professor J, hey, quantified 26 in the stream, 16 likes. We can do better, a little bit more at this point. No, good morning. G, hello from Lithuania. Tao, man, a pleasure. Look forward to these vids. Adam, big thanks to you, Noah. Up only profile is my narrative. Yield bearing and productive assets only. Yeah, and you can avoid the volatile assets. And if you imagine you have money, you have a couple $1,000,000, you could get 30% on your money in the crypto space and have basically no volatility. You have your risk exposure compared to dollars, but that's the point. You're getting yield, real yield, positive real yield in exchange for that degree of risk exposure compared to losing your money and it just getting evaporated if you don't have any risk exposure, such as a bank account where they just take money from you. So if it's up to me, I'd rather take a risk any day as compared to a guaranteed loss of money. That's the way I think about it. Critical mass. I have spell. What should be the next step? To stake it? Spell unstaked doesn't have much value, my friend. You gotta stake it to make it. Killis, good morning. Crypto Tio. Hola. Hola. Un otro día. Buenas tardes. Michael K. Haven't been on a live stream for ages, but I regularly listen to your recordings. Appreciate you, Noah. How do you feel about risk to your U.S. fiat off ramps? SEC is coming after CFI. I have no idea how this shit's going to play out. The last thing I'm going to do is hesitate in the face of risk, hesitate in the face of regulation. I'm going to proceed and I'm going to do the appropriate thing, which is to conquer what I'm engaged with. I'm going to conquer these markets. I'm going to deploy my strategy. I'm going to hit my time horizons. I'm going to define my narratives, and I'm going to kill it. That's what I do. So don't hesitate. It's like, when you do something, you do it right. You know what I'm saying? Dan, do you add any opportunistic yield farming? Not really. I avoid capital gains at all costs. So I'm not moving capital around. Focus on income. I want to have basically no capital gains because I don't want to pay protection money to the government. You pay protection money so they don't come after you. That's what they call it, right? Oh wait, no, that's called taxes. It's kind of the same thing as protection money. Huh. Strange how that kind of sounds like. Eh, anyway. Kalis, if you've talked about Ohm before, I forget. I've talked about Ohm as well as time. Speculative monetary policy is quite intriguing from a protocol standpoint. I think it changes the game, the bond component. I think Zeus and Olympus have codified the Federal Reserve commercial banking system reserve shell game. And I believe certainly from the protocol standpoint, it's going to change the face of DeFi with regard to the speculative price point of Ohm and time. They'll be highly volatile. They're hyperinflationary. There's a rebase component, so they're not necessarily a currency. They act more like reserves. So there's definitely an extraordinary aspect to them. I think they will be studied at some point. I think they're genius with regard to their price point, speculative territory, and it's something that I find deeply, deeply fascinating. Critical mass, stake it to make it. Igor, is there something I could do with my S spell? You could borrow capital against it. Abracadabra offers the S spell cauldron when there's actually anything that's available to borrow, which is rare because most of it gets borrowed very quickly. Michael K., that's why you are King Noah. No, no, I am Noah, and I'm a storyteller. I tell stories. That's all I do. Happen to be good stories, though. Frank, 3 streams in a row. Happy to be here. It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Menace, do you feel spell is in price discovery mode? I think that's a very hyperbolic terminology. It's vague. What is price discovery? I think the chart looks good. I find it extraordinary that it hit a 10 SMA mean regression on the daily. I think this wick is extraordinary. 7 hours to the daily close. And there's nothing negative that could be said about it bouncing so hard to the upside. This is a massive, massive percent bounce to the upside in a single daily candle. The volatility on the asset is extraordinary. The price appreciation has been uh, epic, to say the least. Um, Price discovery is just hyperbolic terminology. What I know is, all right, fine. Maybe I won't call it price discovery, but I would say that centralized exchanges, the retail market, the DEXs are trying to figure out what the fuck is going on because Spell and Abracadabra, and frankly, the entire team that's building Popsicle Finance, Wonderland, and Abracadabra, everyone's trying to figure out how much momentum these boys have, and I think it's kind of unprecedented. They kind of hit the crypto space with a real amount of force, and at an extraordinary time with the political climate and the regulatory pressure, especially as it pertains to the stablecoin narrative. So Man, all I know is, folks might get nervous about this shit. And I'm like, oh, if I'm going to be anywhere, this is where I'm going to be. I'm the type of guy when there's a crowd, like there's some stuff going on the stage, I want to be at the front. I want to see what's going on. If something's going to go down, I want to be in it. I want to be there. I'm the last person to shy away from a complexity or a risk or fear. Oh my goodness. There's going to be a showdown about stablecoins? Woo! Oh yeah. Count me in. Killis, a pleasure. Dan Astor, are there any other projects within crypto that you find nearly or as just exciting as everything within Abracadabra? Of course, and that's my diversified portfolio. Just because Abracadabra has grown to what it is, I've talked about countless assets over the last 2 years. I still have a very healthy, diversified portfolio that has become unbalanced in many regards, but that's all good. I think I have like 30 assets, give or take. I'm not really going to dig into them right now, but uh, maybe another stream. I'll go over the portfolio. The balance has changed. I haven't bought or sold anything, and I can't remember how long. So you guys remember on previous streams, I've talked to you like 90% of the portfolio is six assets and stuff like that. It's the same assets. It's the same quantity. It's just a different balance considering the price appreciation that has occurred. We, the crypto people, grow thoughts, grow token, must look at right up your alley. Yeah, but I don't have any capital to deploy. It's all deployed. Craig Killis, I've been using Ohm since July. It's the first asset in the past 3 years that ever flipped my ETH right? I find it extraordinary. You know what I find? The risk-free price floor. So I have no idea how this shit's going to play out. And I find it absolutely fascinating. I am absolutely fascinated. And I sure as hell wish I bought Ohm at $50 and Time at $100. But I didn't. And that's okay. And you don't have to own everything you want to own. And I am very, very comfortable saying, holy crap, I look forward to seeing what plays out because I think the protocol is remarkable. And that's it. Simple as that. Lewis, my man, some get upset when the MIM runs out and it's not replenished right away. Well, it can't be replenished right away. It needs to be replenished based on the characteristics of the protocol, the balance of debt versus MIM in circulation. Yeah, you can't destabilize markets, and there needs to be consideration applied to make sure MIM has a particular value. So it's a bit of an art to when new debt becomes available. Kalis was scared a bit watching it from afar, but got in yesterday. Glad to hear that. Thanks so much for the feedback. I mean, one rule that always applies 1% to 10%, that's a win. So there's always a reason to throw around a little bit of a portfolio, a couple percent here and there in a speculative play. I cannot discount that as being logical and reasonable. So food for thought. I operate on all these memes and catchphrases and slogans. The last thing I tell anyone, just because I don't own something doesn't mean it's not a good thing. You just follow the rules. Don't go all in. Never spread too thin. 1% to 10% changes everything. You know, I gotta you know I gotta write down my rules. I can't remember them all at the same time. Some pretty good rules we've come up with over the years. Fuber, Occupied DeFi, that's right. Osarko, Frog Nation, I like it too. Craig, Temple takes own mechanics and adds even more fascinating stuff. Pre-sale, but will be public early November. Worth taking a look at. Brilliant team. Yeah, this monetary policy is getting deep because now they're starting to code like higher level components of historic sovereign monetary policy, not just like commercial banking type shit, but they're getting deep at the Fed level. And there's a lot of relationships between the Fed, primary dealers, and the commercial banking system that the general public doesn't touch ever. There's literally like trillions of dollars that go back and forth between the Federal Reserve and the commercial banking system in the form of reserve assets. The hell is a reserve? No, you guys have never heard of a reserve unless you deal a little bit of macroeconomics, but there's a huge amount of capital flow that the general public has no idea exists. So some interesting stuff going on with these monetary policies, experimental monetary policies in the DeFi space that won't make sense. But if you talk to someone that understands macroeconomics, be surprised. It may actually make a lot of sense. What see? A pleasure. So I'm going to keep this stream short today. The technicals on Spell you can see is obviously creeping up back past 2 cents already. This is the. I mean, Craig, you know technicals. Look at look at this. Can you imagine this thing closes like a dragonfly? Dare I say a bullish hammer? Dare I say it actually blows past all-time high? Look, can you imagine this thing closing into a ridiculous hammer at 2.6 cents? Because that's where it looks like it's heading. This is the most ridiculous candle, most ridiculous wick I think I've ever seen. So this is spectacular. There's no reason the way or the sentiment I'm expressing should induce FOMO. Um, you need to be responsible and rational, and always remember the rules. And this is a very difficult market to play. Dare I remind everyone at the end of the stream how I started the stream? You got to have appropriate time horizons to be able to play markets that have 60% intraday price swings, where over 3 days it's gone from 2.5 cents and it dipped below 1 cent in the perps on FTX. That's an extraordinary volatility. How the hell do you navigate markets like this? You need to take a step back. You need to define your narrative. You need to have rational, realistic time horizons. You need to do things differently. Otherwise, these markets will chew you alive buying and selling. Um, Crypto TO, why not? Crazy chart? Well, everyone will do what they feel is most appropriate, my friend. F Dub, hi Noah, regarding what you said yesterday about missing an opportunity. China narrative is the only one I haven't got involved in. I want to pick up some Cosmos for potential airdrops. Well, Adam does give those airdrops, my friend. Would this be something you classify as too late? No, but it's got a heck of a time horizon and it could have some serious dips. Don't expect to not have a 60% drawdown or even an 80% drawdown at some point. So that's complicated. But if you have a 4, 5, 6, 10-year time horizon, that is, you know, clearly if you kept it in cash and you bought it on an 80% dip, you'll have 5 times as much atom as you did if you buy it now and just hold through the dip. Does that matter? For someone like me, it probably wouldn't matter. Because I prefer hands off. I prefer not having to go through the capital gains process. I prefer just having the long-term time horizon and the conviction to stick to the narrative. So there's a lot of considerations. I tell you guys all the time, my goal is not to make as much money as possible, but to have a narrative that's strong and the conviction to hit a rational time horizon. I will not make as much money as possible. What I will do is respect what I see in the market. I will respect the stories that I will tell, and I will have the conviction to watch this shit play out. It's a wand, not a hammer, Peter. I mean, look at this thing. It's still going. Extraordinary. Um, Killis, you have inspired me to rein in my speculative assets and consolidate. There's still some staples I keep, but I'm getting better at letting go of unnecessary attachments to random tokens. The portfolio should be functional. If it's going to sit for years, it better be producing a salary. Hopefully, at the end of the years, it produces more of a salary than your current job. And that's winning. Your goal is not to make as much money as possible. If you make $1 million, what the heck are you going to do with $1 million? You'll blow through $1 million in a couple of years. You want to buy a home in this market? You're going to blow through hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then you need $10,000 a year just to pay the stupid property taxes. Money goes quick. Money is useless. What is valuable? Revenue streams, because that's money that just keeps coming in and coming in and coming in. It's money that stays and it doesn't go away. A lump sum, the only thing a lump sum is good for is to make money. Use money to make money. That's the only purpose. That's the only real purpose, the usefulness of money, is to make money. Food for thought. Thank you, everyone, for joining. 12:26 p.m. on a Tuesday, October 12th. Tell everyone to subscribe. After party on Discord. If I didn't hit a question, ask me on AskVid. Everything's in my Twitter profile. If you need a link, I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I wish you a wonderful day. I will see you again tomorrow.